what it's worth. For what it's worth. For what it's worth. For what it's worth. All this black church, white church, Hispanic church, ain't no such thing in the Bible. It's the church of Jesus Christ. The church of God. The church of the Lord Jesus. The saints of God. Anytime I call you my good white brother, I just shot an arrow. And if you don't have a shield up there, a faith, you're going to take it to heart. It's going to wound you. And it's going to develop hostility in you. Ephesians chapter 2. The enmity was put to death in Christ's flesh. The enmity between races and classes and cultures and all that. When Christ died and said, it is finished, he was saying everything is over, y'all. It's over. Whatever you were, it's over. When we're crucified with him. Whatever we were, we're no longer. And the worst thing that can happen in a believer's life is not to believe. Like hot and cold air coming together in the atmosphere, what happens? And so when we have Christ on the inside and we're still thinking that we're what we used to be rather than who we are, there's a storm brewing somewhere. And then we're going to take that storm into relationships, into ministries, into business on this street. Now, I'm going to say something, and it may really blow us out the water, and you may not want to come back in the morning. But if 2 or 3 of us are gathered together, he'll be healed, the Lord will be healed. But I'm going to say this. Most of us, if not all of us, were born in the United States, except I know one person was born in Belgium. And that's it. That's not a part of that's part of the West. It's part of the West because you have Great Britain and Belgium and France. Those are all part of the West. But anyway, was it a democracy? It's a kingdom. Okay. You were born under a monarch. Okay. All right. So this doesn't apply to you. But now that you're here, it can apply to you. Those of us that were not born under a monarch or under a communist government, but we were born under a republic that works democratically, we have different responsibilities. We don't have anything to say who's going to be king. We don't have anything to say who flew the coop and took over a government and brought all the riches into the few and let the masses live in poverty. We were born, I was, in a republic, a representative government, right? Mm-hmm. That means at a certain time in life, I get a chance to empower someone. I empower them to make decisions on my behalf. It's called a vote. And so whoever I vote for, I have empowered them to make decisions on my behalf. So whatever decision they make, God's holding me responsible. Ready? Mm-hmm. As Christians, as believers, as new creations, we have a dual citizenship. If you want one of these, see Pastor Agnew, if you don't already have it. This is session 3. We have a dual citizenship, and we have a responsibility to God and man. First to God, then to man. Our citizenship is in heaven, means we are now ambassadors on earth. our headquarters in heaven, we've been commissioned to operate on earth. And everything, get this, I've gone to countries around the world, and when you go to the embassies of these countries, even if you go to the embassy in London of India, that embassy that represents India is in a whole lot better shape than India, because they want to look good wherever they have embassies. And whoever is operating as an ambassador from India in that embassy in London, all the needs are supplied from India. And as believers, as ambassadors for Christ, all of our needs are supplied by his riches and glory by Christ Jesus. So when it comes to the economy, we're not concerned, we're not under the auspices, or we're not limited to the economy that's on earth. And when we lay down the rules, there are rules that govern the kingdom. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth like it is in heaven. Go and make disciples of all nations. Teach them to observe everything I told you. In other words, tell them what the rules are. Don't let them tell you what the rules are. Now I place you in a republic called a democracy. You have the responsibility to empower someone to make a decision on your behalf. Now, if that person that you empower go out and say, I believe in abortion, I'm holding you responsible for every abortion. If you go for someone that says it's okay for same-sex marriage, they have a right, then he's holding you responsible for the abomination. And if you would know all of the saints of God that's voting for people who believe in abortions and same-sex marriage, it will cause you to croak. You'll fall out and faint. And when you talk to them about certain people, oh, well, the economy, security, I say that's an insult to God. Because God says he'll keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed upon him, for he trusts in him. He's our shield, our buckler, he's our wall and our defense. Not a weapon formed against us can prosper, and every tongue that rises up against us shall be condemned in judgment. And you talking about security. What's wrong with you? You should have your helmet of salvation with your loins girded about with truth. You should have your feet sharp with the preparation of the gospel of peace. You ought to have your shield of faith and your sword of the Spirit. You ought to be spitting fire. What's wrong with you? Well, he'd be the first one that ever in the history. I say, God's going to hold you responsible. I say, if you vote for that person, God's going to get you yourself. I say, we don't have good choices, but I'm praying for the one that's easiest to pray for. Because if you believe in abortions, it simply means you are aborting God's eternal plan for a person. If you believe in same-sex marriage, it simply means you can't reproduce what you aborted. So it's a slap in the face of God. You abort life and can't reproduce it.
Jesus.
And I guarantee you, half the people in this room would have voted for the wrong person. I say half, so you don't know who I'm talking about. I can give you 3 reasons why not to vote for a certain person. And if the first one don't work, the second one will get you. If the second don't work, the third one will get you. And the third one will get you a reprobate. You are a reprobate, twice plucked up by the roots, and you ain't no use for God. You may as well be in your grave. You in the way. Now, we're talking about leaders now. You're just simply in the way. Get out the way. You are just in somebody else's way.